Welcome back, everybody. I am at my office today in Frisco recording again. So this is the third video in our series about moving to North Dallas and what North Dallas is and what all of the different areas look like and what might be the best fit for you. So today we are going to focus on Little Elm, and then we're going to touch on Lakewood Village and Oak Point. And I did not mention those in the original video where I talked about the areas, but Lakewood Village and Oak Point are both smaller areas that are very similar to Little Elm, and they're all kind of right there together. These are all towns that are kind of on the northern edge of Lake Lewisville. They kind of have a unique lifestyle and vibe going on there, so they really kind of all go together. So we're going to go over all of those. The nice thing about these areas, because of the location, they do feel like they are a little farther out. In reality, we are still very close to Frisco. We're very close to Denton. You have easy access to get down to the Dallas North Tollway. Easy access to get to Interstate 35, which also means it's very easy to get to DFW Airport. So for anybody who is going to be commuting, getting to the tollway makes that very easy, and then of course the airport. So we're going to start with Little Elm, and I actually live in Little Elm, so I do know the area really well, and it is an area that is known for its lake life, because like I said, this sits right on the northern side of Lake Lewisville, and we even have a bridge that goes across the lake there. So with the lake, that brings a lot of fun summer things to do, right? We have Little Elm Beach, we have a marina. There's actually two marinas. There are little cabins you can rent and stay if you want to. Some have air conditioning now. They did not when I was younger. There's places for little bonfires out there. We have volleyball courts in Little Elm, and on Friday nights, those are just packed full of the teenagers out there playing volleyball. And again, there are some fire pits down on the little beach area. So there's plenty of places to come and kind of have some fun. Where they've built the Little Elm Beach, they call that our lakefront, and that is the area where they run most of their events. So they're famous for the Brew and Q, so that is a barbecue and craft beer festival. So you can come down and show off your barbecue skills and enter contests and then taste beer from different vendors and people that sign up. They have a fun Mardi Gras parade and 5K, and that's also kind of a little festival, with food trucks and things like that. So they have a lot of those. There is an amphitheater down there, which is really fun. There is some built-in seating at the amphitheater, but you can bring your chairs and your coolers, and they do a summer concert series down there. So it's usually fun cover bands, 80s music. They had a little Kiss cover band this year. That was fun. So it's a nice place to go hang out before it gets too hot, because this is Texas, so it's still going to be warm. So that's a great part of Little Elm. Another part is the trails, and they've been really big about the trail system and keeping those maintained and everybody having access to that. So one is down near that little lakefront area, and that one is a couple miles long. You can probably get 3 miles out if you go around the whole thing, and that also has big green spaces and stuff where you can throw the frisbee with the dog, and there's benches you can sit and watch the water or work or whatever it is you want to do. So that's kind of a neat little area, and it's quiet back there. So it is a nice, if you want some quiet outdoor time, it's a nice spot for that. The other trail actually connects all the way to Frisco. So that starts behind another little area of our downtown, and it runs east and out and back, I believe, is about 8 miles. So if you're a runner or if you walk your dog or ride bikes or whatever, that's a nice little section, and a nice way to see all parts of the town while you're outside. So when it comes to real estate, Little Elm has just seen kind of explosive growth over the past decade, and the town has just completely transformed from being a little kind of sleepy lakeside community into kind of a booming area. We've just had kind of expansion from the little downtown area all the way out. And Little Elm is uniquely landlocked by the lake and then the other, cities that go around it. So it's almost developed out, almost built out. There are still lots of areas for commercial development to come in, and we are seeing some of that. There's been some new businesses that have come into downtown, some new restaurants and things like that. So the commercial side is definitely catching up, and that's kind of all along El Dorado Parkway in there. So that's nice. We don't have to leave Little Elm and go to Frisco for everything. There are grocery stores and restaurants and stuff right there in Little Elm, so that's nice. As far as real estate goes, the housing options range from, first-time home buyers, very affordable homes, to multi-million-dollar homes on the water. So there is just a huge range in there. And I said that we are pretty built out, but there are some new-ish neighborhoods that do have some new construction still happening within those. So a lot of the builders are building now here what they call master planned communities. So you have huge communities with a ton of amenities. So we have a couple of those. We've got the Shores, that's a gated community. We have Valencia on the lake. They have just a massive amenity center with a fantastic gym and all sorts of events and stuff that go on down there. So they're still offering the newer construction, more modern amenities, like we mentioned, the pool, park, playground. So if you're looking for something, more established, there are older parts of Little Elm where you can find that as well. So if you get neighborhoods closer to the lake, those are going to be the properties that have bigger lots, more trees. So those areas will feel a little bit more private than if you were in one of these master plan communities. It really is kind of a self-sustaining community now, and it's a great place for anybody who really enjoys outside life and doesn't want to be, right in the mix of the city or anything like that. So Lakewood Village is next. What's interesting about Lakewood Village is if you drove up to it, the first time I drove up to it and saw the sign, I thought it was the name of a neighborhood. It's just, that's what it is. It's a bedroom community. There are no retail or commercial developments there. They do not have their own school district. So the Lakewood Village, those kids attend Little Elm ISD. And we actually have our newest elementary school is in Lakewood Village. So they have their own there, which was nice. It took some overflow off of another school and kind of opened that up. So taxes are a little bit different there because it is its own city. So you pay taxes to Lakewood Village. It's a quiet, established neighborhood with lake adjacency and a lot of privacy. That's probably the biggest drawback there, is you've got your bigger lots and some privacy. So there's two sections. There's the older part, which are a little bit older homes, and then you have the Shores at Lakewood Village, and that's going to be your $1 million homes. A lot of those are on the water. Now, those homes that are on the water, so this is important to know about our area, most of them are not going to have boat docks. The Army Corps of Engineer has an easement all the way around the lake onto all of the properties around the lake. So you cannot build anything on the water around the lake. There are a handful of boat docks that are grandfathered in from before this was put into place, and it's a very small number. I think it's like 25 of them, so there are not very many at all. What a lot of people do is they'll have a floating dock, and they use like a four-wheeler to roll it in and out, so it has big like tires that float where it can roll or float. They'll bring it out for the weekend, park the boat so you can get on and off the boat all weekend, and then pull it back out of the water and go put your boat back in the marina. So that's something that's really common. The Corps of Engineer, like I said, they own that flowage easement, and there is a line called the 537 line that goes all around the lake. So the Corps can allow water to get onto your property up to where that line is. And the lines are marked. So when you're buying a property on the water on Lake Louisville, you really need to be aware of where that is and what those rules are. So if you need to ask the questions, but you need to make sure that your realtor is aware of those things and understand those things. I do. So you also need to understand erosion around the lake. That is a big thing, especially if you're looking at a property that is on open water. If you're in a cove, it's not quite as bad, but if you're on a property on open water where you've constantly got boats going back and forth and the wind coming in, you really need to be aware of the erosion and how much has happened and consider retaining walls and things like that. And those can be very expensive. So it's definitely something you need to be aware of and look into if that's the type of property you end up with. So we said there were not many stores and such, and that they don't have their own school system. So really it is just the neighborhood and the one school that is there that's part of Little Elm, and they have a little town office there, so they have their own little mayor and everything. So that's Lakewood Village, and that's all Lakewood Village is. Oak Point is the next. So Oak Point is just crazy under development. New stuff is popping up weekly, daily. There are two main communities out there that have lots on the water. So we've got Emerald Sound and Eagles Landing. Both have gorgeous homes that are on the water. Some are on the water. They are all, both neighborhoods, a lot of the homes are a little bit older. So some of them are kind of being purchased and remodeled or added onto and things like that. But they're really nice neighborhoods. They're quiet. They have lots of trees, and they're kind of tucked back in the back of Oak Point. So they've got a lot of privacy back there too. Then there is a yacht club in Oak Point, and there is a big polo club. So it's fun to go to events at the polo club and watch the horses and stuff out there. Oak Point has several master plan communities too. So Wild Ridge, Prairie Oaks, and a new one is Spiritus Ranch. They really have homes in all price points that are new or new-ish. So there's really a very good variety there. Oak Point is part of Little Elm ISD and Denton ISD. So they do not have their own school district either. Half of the town goes to Little Elm, the other half goes to Denton, or somewhat like that. New restaurants. That's kind of a fun thing because we had not had many restaurants on that side of town, which is kind of the far west side of where Little Elm is. So they recently put in a new Italian restaurant that's fun. It's not very big, so you definitely need reservations. They just opened up a new little wine bar called Posh and Pours. The Italian restaurant is La Rustica. Great food. So those are fun. We've got a brand new Ace Hardware. So you can kind of see where we're going. You get the picture that there's lots of new stuff coming in where there just wasn't really anything before. So it's kind of a fun time to see that. So as far as living in Lakewood Village or Oak Point, they're close enough to Little Elm, so just a mile or so from Little Elm, that they can still access the beach and get to the tollway and get to Frisco and all those things easily, but it's definitely a little bit more quiet when you get it home. So of the three, Little Elm is the biggest and has the most kind of stuff. And we talked about Lakewood Village being a bedroom community, and then Oak Point being the newest. You know, if you're looking for something that's kind of right in the mix of everything, these three areas are probably not the best fit. If you like the outdoor lifestyle and you enjoy boating or fishing or things like that, even just want more privacy, maybe some more land, definitely more bang for your buck in these areas versus a Frisco or a Prosper, then these could be good fits for you. There's lots of options. So if you're considering a move to North Dallas and you think one of these might be a good fit for you, I would love to help you compare neighborhoods and dive a little bit deeper into that. So make sure you follow along and subscribe to see the next area where we are going to talk about Prosper, and follow along for more of the local insights.